In the summer, I often live in the country house. And the plot next door to me belongs to some grandmother, kind of crazy, but not violent. All day long she sits on the bench in front of her house and mutters something under her breath that I can't make out. One day as I walked by, I noticed she was stroking something sitting on her lap. I thought it was a cat. I looked closer, but there was no one. She was just holding her hands over her lap, as if she was holding someone and stroking the air with one hand. Then I thought she must have had a cat once, so she's used to it, and when she thinks about it, her hand makes a familiar motion, as if the cat were sitting in her lap. And then one night, while I was sleeping in the house, the following happened. When I woke up, I found my hand resting on something woolly lying at my side. In my sleep I thought it was my cat, and out of habit I stroked it, but it seemed too stiff. And then I remembered that I was in the countryside and the cat was in my town. Naturally, I immediately woke up, but I did not flinch and quickly thought of what to do. I immediately came up with a plan to quickly cover it with a blanket, whatever it was, and throw it out the window. And just as I took the first step, something jumped off the bed and rushed to the door. I only noticed a silhouette out of the corner of my eye, and there was something strange about its movement. I jumped up, went to the door, saw that it was ajar, calmed down, and decided that I had simply forgotten to close the door in the evening, and some cat had wandered in, or maybe it was someone's dog. I walked back past the window, and suddenly, right behind it, I saw the face of the grandmother from the neighboring precinct. I had never seen her like that before. Her gray hair was loose, fluttering in the wind, and her eyes were huge, looking right at me. And I was so frightened that I jumped away from the window, and she raced in great leaps and leaps to her plot. I could not calm down for a long time, but in the end I lay down and fell asleep. And as I fell asleep, I realized what was so strange about the running cat or dog, whoever it was, moving as if it were not running, but rolling across the floor toward the door. I woke up in the morning, went to get water, passed by my grandmother's plot, and she was sitting on a bench, muttering something to herself, brushing her hair and acting quiet as usual. I thought I was having a nightmare, that she was running around the property like a madwoman. But when I got closer, I heard her utter a perfectly understandable voice and stroke something invisible in her lap with her hand, as she always did. "Why did you make me run after you at night? Why did you sneak into the boy's room at night? You scared him so much." I shuddered, barely restraining myself from running away. Then I started asking around about this grandmother. Nobody really knew anything, except that she spent 10 years in an asylum, and after she was released she spent all day sitting on the bench in front of the house. Only once we were drinking with an old man from the village, and he told me that 15 years ago this grandmother had hacked off her grandfather with an axe and cut his head off. And when the cops came, she was sitting on that very bench in front of the house, smiling, holding her grandfather's severed head in her lap, stroking it and talking to it.